Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Tasting with Scott and Julia. My dear friend Julia Hunt. I like to call her Warren. I'm back from a fresh haircut, if you couldn't tell. Looking good. So we're gonna taste a couple of wines today that are really good with Thanksgiving. But we're tasting these wines because we have a spotlight tasting on December the 9th of the Wagner family of wines. It's December 9th at 6 p.m. So we'll have the Sea Sun Chardonnay, a new wine.
Brand new, called
the Walking Fool
Red Blend.
And then the Grand Durif, and then Emmolo, Merlot, the Camus Napa Valley, and very rarely seen in tastings and or dinners, we're also going to have the Camus Special Selection. We'll be pairing small bites with each of these wines. I'll use Julia's help with that. But if you'd like to make a reservation for that, give us a call at 336-299-4505.
It starts at 6.
Starts at 6 p.m.
It will be hosted by winery ambassador Rich Bowman. He's been working for the family for well over a decade and has awesome stories and knows these wines inside and out. And I can't wait to taste the Walking Fool. I haven't even tasted it yet.
Excellent, excellent. But we're going to start off today with the Emmolo Sauvignon Blanc and the Sea Sun Pinot Noir, which, like I said, both of them will go well with Thanksgiving or Christmas meals. So let's get started.
All right, so we're just gonna pop this open with a twist of the wrist. Nice little convenient screw cap there on the Emmolo Sauvignon Blanc. But before we jump into the wine, I just want to tell the quick kind of backstory of Camus Winery and the Wagner legacy. So Camus was named after a land grant, the Rancho Camus land grant, that was given to a gentleman named George C. Yount. If you've heard of Yountville, which is just below Oakville and Rutherford in Napa Valley, Camus is located in Rutherford. He is originally from North Carolina and moved to Palo Alto, California, somewhere in the 1800s, ended up with this land grant. So Rancho Camus is how Camus got its name. So a fun connection to our little state here on the East Coast. So there's three Charlies, or three Charles, three generations. So you have Senior, who started the grape growing business and winery with his son, Charlie Jr., and then there's Charlie the third now as well. So it's truly a family enterprise. Chuck works with Charlie, his son, and his daughter, Jenny. So Jenny makes Emmolo. And Emmolo is Charlie and Jenny's maternal grandparents. Chuck's first wife, he's had a couple. Chuck's first wife was Cheryl Emmolo. And if you remember back in the day, a long, long time ago, Camus actually made Sauvignon Blanc. Well, it was her family's Sauvignon Blanc vineyard. So she kind of took that back when they split up. But as years went on and, her feelings subside, and Jenny entered the business, Cheryl gifted the name of Emmolo to her daughter. And obviously with a lot of her father's help and her own ingenuity and intuition has developed Sauvignon Blanc, Merlot, and they also do a sparkling. But this is the Sauvignon Blanc.
Just to go back in the story a little bit, there's another connection to North Carolina and Yountville. I worked at Mustard's.
Yep, Scott worked out in Mustard's. Here you go. All right, so why don't you go ahead and we'll taste it and talk about what you think about it.
All right, sounds good. This is one of my generally go-to California Sauvignon Blancs. I mean, I taste a slight bit of grapefruit, not a punch in the face,
Nope.
like others. Very smooth, probably some pear.
Yeah, definitely tree fruit oriented, citrus, and the pear and apple, but on the tart side in a good way.
Yeah.
So there's if you want to break it down to just simplicity, there's three major styles of Sauvignon Blanc where it performs really well, and stylistically they're pretty identifiable. And so we have France. I'm just going to talk about Loire Valley, Sancerre. You get a lot more minerality. You still have the citrus fruit. Sometimes you get a little bit of chalk or limestone because of the soil composition in the area. But highest acidity and lean fruit is what Sancerre really is known about. Very vibrant, racy, pure, linear acidity. Then you have New Zealand. And New Zealand came on the scene really in the early 80s, pioneered by a brand, Cloudy Bay. Most people know Cloudy Bay. And that style, grown in Marlborough, is very distinct. And there's a lot of grapefruit. It ranges from yellow to pink. It also tends to have some herbaceous or grassy notes. It also tends to have some green vegetal characters like green pea or maybe green bell pepper. And depending on the type of canopy management, pyrazines can be kind of exacerbated in some New Zealand Sauvignon Blancs. But it's a distinct style, and it's kind of a love it or hate it style.
That's why I say
I love New Zealand.
That's why I say punch you in the face, because it really.
They're very distinct. They're they're a dream to blind taste, because they say, "Hi, I'm New Zealand Sauvignon Blanc," and you're like, "Yes, I know what you are." And then California just kind of sits a little bit in the middle of that. There is definitely some minerality in this, a little bit of a chalk kind of character. Again, the citrus fruit that we talked about, some of them can be a little more tropical in character that you don't really find in France and is less common in New Zealand. And so you may have like a mango papaya kind of character going on in some California Sauvignon Blancs.
That'll make it seem a little sweeter.
And that's what our brain tells us, you know. Yeah. So in dry wines and almost all Sauvignon Blancs, there's no residual sugar. They're fermented to complete dryness. But when the fruit character is super ripe, our brain tells us that's sweet. When it's really just identifying the type of the fruit being ripe, underripe, or lean. But I really like the style.
I love this style. It's very nice.
And as aperitif, just sipping while everybody arrives, it's a great brunch or egg dish wine. Oyster scallops. You know, of course, we could talk about turkey. It also pairs well with salty or salinity kind of foods. I mentioned the oysters, but also so ham. Those kind of things that people are going to be enjoying through the next several weeks.
Nice holiday starter wine. All right, so let's get on to the Sea Sun.
Also screw cap. This is one of the newer brands from the Camus portfolio. Mare Soleil. The Mare Soleil vineyard is located down in the Santa Lucia Highlands in the Central Coast area. They went down there, also I believe in the mid-'80s, and started producing barrel fermented Chardonnay under the label of Mare Soleil. Mare, Sea, Soleil, Sun. So then now we have Sea Sun. So two Sea Suns, essentially. This is Pinot Noir. No,
I won't drink anymore.
I was gonna say, don't drink that.
She got a little happy with the first pour.
So I mentioned it was family affair. There's another son, Joseph Wagner, who was the creator of Meiomi. They no longer own that label. It's owned by a different company. But if you recall Meiomi coming into the scene, that was Joe's other son. He also makes the Bellegoisse wines. Chuck's mother, Lorna Bellegoisse, was her maiden name. Such an interesting, beautiful maiden name, but that's where Bellegoisse comes from. And Joe's no longer involved with Meiomi, so nobody in the Camus family was making Pinot Noir. And Charlie and Jenny weren't making Pinot Noir, and so this was introduced. Most of the fruit comes from the Central Coast area and other areas of California. Just sourcing the right ripeness of grapes. So this is a pretty rich style. It's not super dense. a little bit darker than some Pinot Noir, but you still can see through it.
Very easy drinking.
See, it's about 9 months French oak. Only a small portion new. Most of it is, we don't say old, we say experienced oak. 2 year, 3 year old oak. So you do get a little bit of that vanilla, a little bit of the baking spice, but it's much more muted than in wines that see, a year or more in newer.
I mean, but this could definitely go with lamb or even roast beef.
Yes, roast beef, lamb, ham. I mentioned ham earlier. I mean, and turkey. I mean,
yeah, it's light enough to where it could go with the whiter meats and lighter fare.
if you want to get fancy and throw some mushrooms in your stuffing,
That'd be pretty good.
prime rib,
Yeah. Julia's
lots
a
of
big fan.
options.
Lots of options. Yeah, very nice.
Wine should make you think about food. I
Absolutely.
mean, there are wines that you are good to drink by themselves, some that really do need pairing, but if you're starting to salivate and you're starting to think about what you want to eat with the wine, then that's a keeper.
But I mean, these two, I don't think you have to have food.
No,
with-
you don't.
with
It just
either
makes
one
me
of them.
think about food.
Yeah, absolutely.
But I think about food a lot.
So we have both of these wines available here at Wine Styles for $28 a bottle. And if you mention this video, we will discount that to $24 each. I think that's a fantastic deal, fantastic holiday discount. So.
And again, they travel well. You just need a turn of your wrist. You don't need to know where your corkscrew is, which is fun.
You don't have to keep a corkscrew in your pocket like I do at all times. I did want to mention again the Wagner family wine tasting on December 9th at 6 p.m. Tasting 6 wines with 6 small bites, paired by an advanced sommelier and myself. And if you'd like to make a reservation, we would prefer that you make a reservation so that we can have enough food for everyone. Our number is 336-299-4505. We are Wine Styles, 3326 West Friendly Avenue, Greensboro, North Carolina, Unit 141. Thank you for watching. Thank you, Julia.
Yeah, and just to reiterate, we will be tasting the special selection, which rarely gets poured in the market, and a brand new red blend, Camus Sassoon, The Walking Fool.
Thanks for tuning in. Happy Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving.